welcome back. You're on to Health Matters. Now, the government has released some numbers that you can call in case of public health emergencies. These are much simpler to remember. They're 097, then 4 zeros, 10, up to 19. So 097000010 up to 19. Call those numbers in case of a public health emergency. You suspect somebody's having a temperature that is refusing to go, or somebody's infected with Lassa fever, or anything serious that can be transmitted to somebody else. Call those numbers. And now, if you want to ask a question on the show, the number to call is 0808 054 2233. That's 008 054 2233. Now, what percentage would you say of person-to-person transmission do we have in Lassa fever?
It's difficult to tell, but like I said at the beginning, the vast majority, that's what we classically see, from rodent to man, okay? But when you're in healthcare settings, and this is where it becomes more tricky, you know, we've had cases of patients complain of abdominal pain, and they say, oh, this person has appendix, in quotes, or appendicitis. And then you now take the patient to theater, you open the patient up, and you know, while doing surgery, there are some little splashes, things get into the air. You could have virtually 80% of the surgical team coming down. I'm using that model with Lassa. You could have the lead nurse, you could have the scrub nurse, you could have the surgeon, his assistant, even the cleaner that's come to clean that place. So when there's an exposure of huge volumes of body fluid, when there's distance between someone like 1 feet, you might not really be too concerned. But when there's much close proximity, as you have with healthcare workers and also caregivers, the immediate family members, then you start getting worried. Then you now begin to take the issue of precautions much more.
But correct me if I'm wrong. These fluids have to be either ingested or taken in through a breach in the skin. Isn't that right?
Now, let's get it clear. If an individual has a cut or an abrasion on his skin, and then fluid, urine, or any form of fluid touches it, there's a high likelihood. But then also, we have the airborne variant. So where you have, things being generated from that patient, going into the air, and then people breathe it in, and it can come
But
back.
that wasn't the case with Ebola. No airborne transmission
with the Ebola virus disease, it was more of contact, physical contacts. So yes, they're in the same class, they're in the same group, but there's some slight dissimilarities between them.
In the case of Lassa fever now, that means people should really be careful when they sneeze.
True, I would agree with that. That's another option, that's another possibility that people need to take care of.
How long can this virus survive if there's no host?
Outside the human body, most viruses are very weak. Outside, they're very, very weak. Outside. So, they die rapidly. But once they're in a host, like in the rat, they can persist in the rat throughout the natural life cycle of that rat. In fact, the rat is relatively immune to the virus. It doesn't come down with infections. But outside the host, they are very fragile.
Okay. Now, would you say that if we had kept the habits of hand washing and cleanliness that we generally people generally picked up during the Ebola emergency, that this wouldn't have happened?
Absolutely, yes. I would say yes to that. I think what happened was there was some mild complacency. Nigeria was declared Ebola free. The other 3 states in West Africa were declared Ebola free. So we got kind of, felt we are out of the waters. And then this now came up. Most places you go to, then you see hand sanitizers. Where are the hand sanitizers now? Then they were teaching nursery and primary school students, pupils, how to wash their hands, hand washing techniques and all that. With time, those things died down. And then there's so much refuse piling up now. You go to so many places, they're rodent infested. refuse heaps. So these are, it's just, I think there's been a fallback.
We have a call coming in from Enugu. Anya Zado. Hello. Are you there? Are you there, Anya Zado? I think we lost that call. We lost that call from Enugu. How long do you think we'll have to continue with this?
My best guess, this current epidemic we are seeing, I think that by April, don't take my word for it, but
April is far.
April is far. You know, January to April. I think by April we will start coming out of the woods.
Okay, that call is coming in now. Hello.
I think by April we
Hello?
will start coming out of the woods.
Okay, that call is coming in now. Hello.
I think by April.
Hello. Anya Zado, please turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you. Anya Zado, please turn down the volume. Okay, maybe he'll call back. So you are saying April?
Possibly, it could be earlier than that.
Is it possible that there won't be any deaths, but it will be like, let's contain this thing?
I can't say. I cannot honestly say it. I wouldn't want to sound in an El Dorado form that there'll be no more. I would wish that there will be no more deaths. But looking at how, you know, strong, let me use that word, this virus is, one cannot possibly rule that out.
I heard that there's another drug.
Yes.
Scientists say,
yes,
cures Lassa fever, at least in guinea pigs for now,
yes,
and
yes.
seems to be better than the ribavirin. Tell us about that.
Okay, the drug was developed by the USAMRIID, that's the United States Military Research Institute for Infectious Diseases in the US. And how it works, they tested it on guinea pigs. They gave it to guinea pigs, and they gave some ribavirin to some guinea pigs, and they compared how long it took for them to recover. And they found that actually there was a shorter mean duration period of recovery with the drug. Okay. However, there has been limited, I'm not even sure there's been human testing, but there's a silver lining in the cloud. So I think in the coming weeks, we might see a recommendation for its use in some patients that have Lassa fever, and I have an incline that it might actually be as effective or more effective.
Okay, let's talk with Olayinka. Hello, Olayinka. What's your question? We lost that call. Well, okay. People talk so much about the environmentalists, at least talk about the balance of nature and all that. Is that affecting how we are exterminating the rats?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. You see, with deforestation, with urbanization, with clearing of dwellings for housing purposes, we are actually disturbing the ecosystem. We're disturbing the ecosystem, and so some of these multi-mammal rats are moving around, looking for what to eat, entering people's homes and all that. So that could also have a role to play. I think what we need to talk about or look at is controlled urbanization.
Okay.
Controlled urbanization. How can we live side by side with the environment, you know, without stripping it bare of all vegetation and things like that? That's a discourse that we really need to start looking into.
Controlled urbanization.
Controlled urbanization, yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's something we also need to look at.
Could you take us through again? What are the symptoms of Lassa fever? Especially the primary ones. Things people should look out for in the first days. Okay.
In a nutshell, let me start with what we call the suspected cases, the probable cases, and the confirmed cases. The suspected case.
Can we hold that for a minute and try and get this call in? Atoba. Hello. Is Atoba on the line? Hello? There seems to be a problem.
Hello?
Hello. Finally.
Hello.
Atoba. I can hear you. Do ask your question.
Hello?
Hello? Ask your question.
Yes. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. Please, I want to ask this Lassa fever. it's not the Western world use this thing to destroy the developed country. Because I noticed this, there's nothing like this all this power mover. I mean, you have been using this road yet. And this since now. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you, Atoba.
So my view is that I think this one is just a biological weapon used by the Western Union. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
We've got your question, you've made your point. This is a concern that many people have,
okay.
and I think you should speak to this.
I do not think there's any Western conspiracy to use it as an agent of bioterrorism. I don't think so, because you see, we're in an age of dynamic travel. If you release an agent of bioterrorism and people are coming in from other places to your country, it defeats the purpose. So I don't think there's any Western conspiracy, to decimate populations or anything. No, far from it. There's no such thing. So as I was saying earlier, a suspected case has the classic symptoms: fever, cough, sore throat, abdominal pain, stooling, possibly vomiting, generally feeling unwell.
And do they all happen, or just a few?
The person may not exhibit all of these that I've mentioned, we just exhibit some of them. And then the patient, when we do some tests, we can do some basic investigations. We say this is a probable case. We could test for some things in the liver.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you there.
Okay.
Time has run out on us. Thank you so much for coming, Dr.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for being there with us. Have a great week. I'm Mary Allen.